Hey, it's the Graveyard Girls. We released our first episode yesterday at the time of recording this.
Yeah. So we record sort of a few together. We actually pre-recorded quite a few before we released our very first episode. One to give us a sort of practice and getting us out there before we released that first one.
Because yesterday was a disaster.
It's been a lot trickier than we thought it was going to be. First we were nervous, so we thought that was the biggest problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've actually found the recording a lot easier than what we thought.
It's just
we were
the
going
editing.
To. Yeah, editing was then, we got the hang of that and we thought it was sorted. We went to listen to it.
And then it was just like triple me.
Yeah, triple Natasha's case, lost half of mine. And then we finally sorted that after a few tantrums. And then it added a random half an hour of nothingness.
I know, where did that come from?
I don't know. So we were very close to not releasing it yesterday.
It had to be out on May the 4th.
And that was it. We had that deadline and we were determined to do it. So not quite everything fell into place as we'd originally planned it.
No.
But we were very much determined to still get it out for that day. So it was like, I don't care whether all the links aren't connected yet. It's like, we will get this episode
We will get
out.
I know. We need to thank Gideon because he helped us out so much.
A massive thank you to Gideon because, we've had to message him a lot when we've not been able to work anything out.
Yeah, I message him daily. I'm like, how do you do this? Thanks, that helps. I need your help again because I didn't do it right.
Yeah, we've FaceTimed him, bless him. And he's brilliant. He's done us all little video tutorials that we've gone through. We've saved, and every time we do something wrong, we're like, right, we're just going to have to ask Gideon.
It's like, Gideon,
help.
One more question.
But yeah, so a big thank you to Gideon because we definitely wouldn't have got the episode out when we did.
No.
And even just with the audio initially, we couldn't get 2 mics going.
Well, even now we can't get 2 mics going. It's just post-production. I'm mixing it together and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
So that's it. But yeah, it's been good. I'm enjoying it, but it's not been as easy as I thought it would. I think when we initially got over those nerves. Well, we thought, we got over the nerves and then we thought we sorted the audio and then we're still messing up the same things.
It's fine. Like you said, we're amateurs. We're learning on the job. And
that's it. So we're still having a good laugh about it. We've not murdered each other yet. So, but no,
you.
You say that now. But like, if you think even with the website, we were getting a bit frustrated with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was another nightmare. It's still a nightmare.
Free my arse.
So yeah, no, we're relieved to have got that first episode out.
Yeah, like we said, we record many in advance because we've got lots of ideas for future content.
Yeah.
So to provide that, we need all this time beforehand.
And this is it. We've already got quite a few ideas for cases for each of us.
Yep.
And then we've already put in pipelines things like little side, like mini-series.
Yeah.
We're sort of something in the pipeline, a bit of maybe a girls on tour for over the summer.
Yeah.
Then we can sort of introduce TikTok and stuff into as one of our platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see our ugly mugs.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that bit. The audio is bad enough.
Yeah.
Adding our faces, jeez.
Well, I think that's the other reason as well why we didn't go straight in for sort of a video podcast, because we were both conscious enough about the audio and how voices sounded. So there was no way we were going rocking straight up with a video.
No, especially me today. I've not even done my hair, I don't think. The state of this mess.
So yeah, no, we've got to get that. Once we've got the hang of this audio, we've got a few out, we've relaxed a bit more, then we can add in all the videos. Sorry. We can add in all the videos. It's hopefully have a bit of fun over the summer. Beginning of summer, we can get that all recorded and done, and then sort of midsummer, that'll hopefully...
Not a midsummer murder.
Yeah. Ooh. Hopefully midsummer sort of time, we can maybe get that started for everyone to see. We've got, like I said, we've got a few little mini-series ideas, because as we've looked, especially... I don't know if it's the same for you, Natasha, but I know for me, when I started looking in cases, I found bits of information about stuff.
Yeah.
And then my sister, like, she sends me little bits because she's doing archaeology at the moment, so she already does a lot of history stuff.
Yeah.
She sends me little bits. Like, oh, I've discovered this today and where I am. She's like, oh, I think you might like this. And
Yeah, I think Clara's been a massive help.
she has, because it's like, it's not necessarily a mystery. So the stuff's very interesting, but it doesn't fall under the category of a mystery. So
no, mine's not a mystery today. Mine's history.
Yeah. So it was like, I don't want to massively go off on a tangent all the time, especially when we've said we're doing mystery sort of podcast. So I thought if we could do a mini side series, it's a way that we can include all those things, because I think it'd be very good content. It's definitely something we both like to explore. I think would be quite good at sort of telling those bits of history.
Yeah.
And I don't want to miss out on them.
No, especially with the positive feedback we've had so far.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, I wasn't expecting that straight away.
No.
I was sort of, I had it in my mind. Like, obviously, you obviously want it to do well.
Of course.
But I was expecting that first few weeks, like, might get like one view.
Yeah, it's just us.
Yeah, and then you like keep checking back, and you've had nothing, and there's that initial disappointment. Like, oh no, no one's listened to anything. But we've done really well, even within the first 24 hours.
Yeah.
We've had quite a few people message us, going, oh, we've listened to it already. This is what we like. This is what I think you should do going forward.
Yeah.
And it's been really good to get that straight away, because I really genuinely wasn't expecting it.
No, neither was I.
But yeah, so I'm quite pleased with how that one's gone.
Yeah, me too.
Now that nervousness is gone, the first one's out there.
Especially after the disastrous of uploading it. And we were just like, oh.
And this is it. I think it just seemed like one mini disaster after another.
I may have to edit that noise out, because what the hell was that?
What?
The noise I just made.
I didn't hear it.
Oh, you didn't hear it?
No.
Just make weird noises all the time.
Okay.
Then. But yeah, no, I think we've done better than we thought we would.
Yeah, and we've stayed on track, because I think it's quite easy to go off.
Exactly. Seeing as we've had lots of bad stuff continuously happen for the last, 6 months?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every week it's been something else, and you feel like it gets to the point you're a bit like, bloody hell, like, nothing else can happen. And then a few days like, oh, bloody hell. But I think between us, it's that determination to get it done.
Yeah.
Like, it was so easy for us to go, oh, we'll do it next week.
Yeah.
But then you never end up doing it. So I think it got to the point, like, we haven't got a choice. Like, we will get it done.
Yeah, that's why I said we'll get it out yesterday.
And that's it, and we've done it.
Come hell or high water, we'll get it out.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, obviously everything wasn't quite up and running how we'd originally planned. We wanted all the quick links in from the website. We couldn't quite get that done in time, but we did the main thing and got the episode out. So in the coming, hopefully by the time you hear this episode,
website will be up.
Yeah, everything will be all linked together. Be much easier. We won't be worrying about any of this anymore, I hope.
I think we'll still be worrying, because even when pressing record, we're like, I don't want to do it.
I know, we have been out of practice a little bit for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a lot more content coming our way. We've got a lot of ideas of where to sort of take it. We're even planning ahead for things like Halloween. We've come up with ideas of stuff for Christmas. So we're not short of ideas by any means.
No, we're not. No.
It's just getting those all together, getting it out there. We're physically doing it as well, because obviously we're both still working. So it's fitting it in around all of that.
Yeah. And other commitments. But yeah, we're doing pretty well, I think.
Yeah, I think we've managed it well. And I think that's where for us as well, we bounce quite nicely off each other.
Yeah.
So we got that done, got it down. Yeah, we're pressing ahead with it.
I know, there's some I'm really excited to do. I want to say the names, but I'm like, no, we got to keep it until it's released. And it's like, no.
I know there's a few cases I've written up, and it's sort of like, that was supposed to be, say, like my case 10 or 11. I'm like, no, I need to do it next, because...
Especially the one I'm thinking of writing now, which will be, I don't know, in 3 episodes' time. I so want to do it. People know about it, I think. I've mentioned it to you.
Ooh.
But I have to write it in a suspenseful way, so you're surprised. But I've mentioned it to you in passing, so it might not be a surprise.
I might cotton on partway through.
Maybe, because I don't know how... Yeah, I don't... That's a different episode. We'll talk about that at a different time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. I'm intrigued now already. But yeah. So what have you got for us today?
Today is more of a... I guess history lesson.
Okay.
Because I'm going to talk about the history of the guillotine.
Oh. Okay.
So I thought about this idea because I was making a necklace which I was going to call Marie Antoinette.
Ooh.
So I thought that would be a good case to do. And then I thought she was beheaded. Talk about the history of the guillotine.
Oh, okay. I'm interested now. See where you're going with this.
So do you know much about the guillotine?
Well, I know what it was used for.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's an instrument for inflicting capital punishment by decapitation. It was introduced in France in 1792.
I actually thought it was a bit earlier than that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, actually, like 1600 would make more sense. Yeah, I guess so. But no.
I suppose maybe there was in a different form, wasn't there?
I think, there was versions of it. So it's a device that consists of two upright posts, a crossbeam, and grooved so to guide an oblique-edged knife or blade, which is weighted to make it fall forcefully upon and then slice through the neck of the person who is to be executed.
Nice.
I mean, I'll talk about it in a bit later on, but it's swift.
Yeah.
But
which is what you want.
Exactly.
But it's also about.
It's a bit. Who thinks of it? Like who?
I think it's at that time though. You look at a lot of even the torture methods.
That's another thing I want to look into.
Oh.
I've not done it yet, but I want to. I think we should do a joint thing maybe.
Oh, okay.
Talk about the history of all that.
Ooh, yeah, that's good because there's a lot, especially when you go back like medieval times.
Yeah.
There's some absolutely brilliant torture things.
Yeah, so there was previous devices in Scotland and England and various other European countries, and they were used for the execution of criminals of noble birth.
Right, okay.
So, in 1789, a French physician and member of the National Assembly named Joseph Ignace Guillotin, I think, was instrumental in passing a law that required all sentences to be carried out by a means of a machine and reformed the criminal code. So it was in accordance with the principle of equal punishment under the law. He asked that capital crimes be punished by one and the same type of execution. This was to be the end of the old social division of punishment that reserved decapitation for nobles and hanging for commoners.
Right, okay.
Which makes sense. Why should that, just because you're noble, why should you be killed one way and not the other?
Yeah, and I suppose technically they see it as it's a quicker death, isn't it? So
exactly.
Why is it some people get a nicer death, depending on how you want to look at it?
Yeah, it's designed so it's like painless as possible.
Yeah. So, no, I agree with that. Everyone should have the same end.
Exactly. Just because you're fortunate to be born noble, why should you be put to death painlessly and then commoners hang slowly?
Yeah.
That's not fair.
No, it's not fair.
It's not fair.
I mean, ideally, just don't do anything wrong and then...
Well, yeah, there is that.
You can die of a cold.
But then some people were executed just because of who they are, not because of what they've done.
Well, we already know a lot of innocent people were slaughtered based on basically nothing.
Exactly. Well, it still happens today.
Yeah.
You just look at someone weird. After the machine had been used in several satisfactory experiments on dead bodies in the hospital of Bicêtre, the first machine was erected in the place de Grave for the execution of a highwayman on April 25th, 1792.
Okay.
People actually booed this.
Oh, that was nice of them.
Yeah, they booed the first public execution. Nicholas Pelletier had been sentenced to death for theft and violently resisting arrest. The crowd weren't impressed with the anticlimactic swiftness of the blade, and they felt cheated out of a few hours of entertainment as it was over in seconds.
Oh. I suppose though it is, I mean, I know it's not quite this late on, it was much earlier, but obviously people like to lob shit at people before they were executed.
Obviously, I'm not sure how long it takes to hang someone.
Some people, I think it can last a few minutes.
Exactly.
A lot of people don't die straight away.
And then you just watch it hang for hours. I mean, there's not much entertainment back then.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it's no different from us now kind of watching into murder documentaries. We're not obviously watching the actual murder, or the execution.
Yeah, so
but
all
we
true
still
crime...
get all the grisly details. We're like, oh, this is quite interesting.
All the true crime fans are just watching the dead...
Yeah.
Everyone there would be true crime fans.
Yeah, can you imagine if they did have all the social media and sort of things they had access to now? Like, I feel like people were a lot more grisly. Or would they not have been? Because they can
that's the
look at it.
point
like
of
now,
history.
we can sort of go and watch a programme, then analyse it, and then talk about it. For them, it's what they see in front of them. That's it.
And also, we can judge history. We think they're immoral and whatever because that's what they were doing at that time.
Yeah. But that was socially normal then.
Exactly. So it's not, would it be different if they had stuff now?
Yeah, I think it
would be, yeah.
Because like I said, we've got so many different platforms to look at that you can make a much more informed decision, if you like. And you can sit back, you've not got to make your decision there and then. You've got time to read over it, watch stuff.
Yeah, you get other people's input rather than just friends who are like very similar to you.
Like I said, well, with the way social media works now, you can connect with anyone across the world. So you're not just restricted to the views of your neighbour.
No, it's true. Yeah, because like if your neighbour might not be exactly like you, but if you're willing to go watch someone hang, most likely
and everyone, and you imagine they were still quite small areas at this point. Everyone might have a hatred for this person. Exactly. Sort of that becomes the whole thing for a town, so everyone just sort of joins in.
Exactly.
And you're probably not going to, even then, you're not going to want to have maybe a different or separate opinion from everyone else. Well, you might have it.
No,
you're not
because
going to express it in front of everyone.
Also, if you're an outcast, you might be
next.
Exactly. You're either next, or you're a witch, or you run out of town.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to socially fit in.
But yeah, no, it is.
It's just, when I researched that, I was just like, they booed. Can you imagine being the first one?
I kind of want to imagine in my head it's a little bit like a pantomime.
Yeah. I think it probably is.
It just, an old version of a pantomime.
I kind of just, have you seen A Knight's Tale?
Yes.
I imagine it's kind of like that.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean.
With, Paul Bettany narrating and like thingy in the crowd.
What, like inciting them, like getting them on top? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I can imagine. Paul Bettany doing that. I can't remember his name. At first, the machine was called a lucette or a luçon, after its inventor, French surgeon and physiologist Antoine Louis. Oh. I'm trying to make it French. Antoine Louis. But later it became known as la guillotine after the law was written by, obviously, Mr. Guillotine. The French underworld dubbed it as the widow.
Oh.
I don't know why. There was nothing. It was just a one-line thing, and I thought, okay, well, I'll include that.
Evil women back then. That's what it was.
It wasn't just the women. Oh, okay, I get it. You're saying men are more beheaded than women.
Yeah, and it's like they've named it after a woman. Obviously,
she's the widow maker as well. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. During the French Revolution, the guillotine became the primary symbol of the Reign of Terror and was used to execute thousands of people, including the most famous being King Louis XV and Marie Antoinette. Okay,
so is this where you're bringing her case in a little bit?
I'm strictly talking about the history of the guillotine. Okay. But I do want to touch on Marie Antoinette and maybe the history of people who were executed by guillotine.
Ooh, okay.
Because I wrote that down as a series we could possibly do together.
No, that I quite.
Because there's a lot of people.
I mean, yeah, we're not short of people, are we?
I mean, no,
at least 1,000.
It's way more than that.
We must have over 1 million. Must be surely.
Maybe not that much.
I don't know. Over the years,
I've got written. Let me finish. To quote you. Okay. The use of the guillotine continued in France well into the 20th century, and it diminished during the 1960s and 70s, with only 8 executions occurring between 1965 and the last one in 1977.
I didn't realise they used it that late. Yeah. I thought it stopped by sort of like First World War.
No, 1977.
Maybe that's why I thought it was earlier. I didn't realise it was that late.
Yeah. See, I'm providing some knowledge. It's a very short story, but I was just like, just creating the jewelry piece. I was just like, it might be interesting. It might not be.
No, I'm interested. Okay. You've got me gripped in it.
Good.
I genuinely didn't realise it was that late.
Yeah, I think because it's similar with hanging in Britain. That's later than
you forget about that, don't you?
Yeah. So I mentioned the last execution was in September 1977. The criminal who was executed was a Tunisian man by the name of Hamida Jangdoubi, who at 21 moved to Marseille in France, which was in 1968. 6 years later, he kidnapped, tortured and murdered 22-year-old Elizabeth Bousquet, who deserves more than a little footnote of me just in passing.
Yeah.
But I thought we'd mention her. I think we should maybe do an episode on Elizabeth to make up for just mentioning her name and then moving on.
Okay.
So, yeah. Janbu is the last person to date to be executed in Western Europe and is also the last person to be lawfully executed by beheading anywhere in the Western world.
Oh, okay.
So in total, but this is what's documented, so I don't know if it's accurate or not, 16,549 men and women were executed by the guillotine.
Were any children? That's just a bit morbid, but...
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, because I bet somewhere along the lines, especially earlier on.
Children.
Yeah, but you think what we class as a child as today is still like 11 and 12. But back then, they were almost adults, if you like. Like, they would have been going out to work. You think, like, even that things like robbing and thieving, that was punishable by death.
Let me have a look. See if I don't want to... I'll look it up now.
Yeah, I didn't know whether children were... Because you think, like, petty crime, going back a couple hundred years, that could have been punishable by death. And a lot of children would have been used to commit crimes, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I forget about that.
So I feel like there would have been children executed. Because they used to hang children. Like they used to hang whole families, didn't they? If they thought... Especially even going back to witch trials, if they suspected a young woman, even if she was like 9 or 10, if they thought she was a witch, they're hanging her.
Okay, I've just looked it up. It's unclear if any or how many were guillotined, but there is some sources that imply that, yeah, they were.
Yeah, because otherwise then it goes back on their law of the saying they want to bring commoners and the noble together.
Yeah, so, yeah, if this is what it says, yeah.
Committing the children to it, then it's still a bit harsh. Like, we'll still just hang the children.
Yeah, because the guillotine was without prejudice against age and status, so yeah. Maybe.
Because I still feel like definitely still by then, children were being killed for crimes. I'm sure they were. Or, like, especially if it's stuff to do with the whole family, they're just, like, some of them, depending on what sort of trial it was, they'd knock off a whole family.
Yeah. Yeah, I see your point. I can't...
Like, you don't have to think of it, but...
they did. Especially the next bit that's coming up, I have a feeling that they probably did.
Okay.
So yeah, like I said, 16,549 men and women. Maybe children.
Okay.
So, during their 12 years in power, the Nazis also used the guillotine.
Okay.
It's claimed that the Nazis beheaded almost as many people as the Reign of Terror. According to their records, they executed 16,500 people between 1933 and 1945.
So that's just a few.
Yeah, so
you've already doubled here. It must be. There's hundreds of thousands.
It was also the Nazis did keep records, but then they also destroyed them so no one would find them.
Yeah, because then they're going to be persecuted afterwards.
So yeah, there's documented of like 16,500. It's probably double that because how many people they killed in gas chambers and concentration camps.
Yeah, but you think over time, obviously say that's just based on your documented ones.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
I reckon it is probably nearly close to 1 million. A lot of it's not really been.
It's just a lot of
recorded.
heads.
I mean, yeah, it is.
Imagine that many heads. Oh God.
I'd rather not.
So there was a bit that caught my eye when I was looking up the history of this. It was something called living heads.
Oh.
So the question of consciousness or awareness following decapitation remains a topic of discussion during the guillotine use. So I'm going to quote a little bit from Dr. Beru, who observed the head of an executed prisoner, Henri Langui. I don't know if that's correct, but I like to say it like that.
We'll go with it.
Okay. So the quote is, "The eyelids and lips of the guillotined man worked in irregular rhythmic contractions for about 5 to 6 seconds. I waited for several seconds. The spasmodic movements ceased. It was then I yelled out, 'Langui!' I saw the eyelids slowly lift up, such as happens in everyday life with people awakened. Next, Langui's eyes very defiantly fixed themselves on mine. I was dealing with undeniably living eyes. After several seconds, the eyelids closed again. I called out again. Again, the eyelids opened, and slowly their eyes fixed upon mine. The eyes closed, but now less complete. There was no further movement. So it's believed that there's 7 seconds until death after being executed by guillotine."
Ooh. I don't know. Is it more like a spasm sort of thing? Because I mean, I suppose it's a bit different from now to when
Yeah.
that was published, but you know, like after people die, there can be twitching or movement afterwards.
That's what I thought, but because he was so adamant that the eyes kept fixing on his.
But did he do that as like a theatrical sort of?
Or writing it as it like,
Yeah,
he fixed
like,
his eyes upon mine.
Because it's like, you still look now, like people obviously are activists for things.
Mm-hmm.
They might embellish it a little bit to make it seem a bit more dramatic.
Yeah.
So it's like to put their case forward.
So you think he's advocating to get rid of the guillotine?
Possibly. So he sort of made it like, yes, the person was still alive. It wasn't an instant death. It's not as good as you're making it out. It's not as a pleasant a death as you're making it out to be. Actually, the person's still lingering.
It might not pleasurable. That's the wrong word. It might not be painful.
Yeah.
And it might not be instant. Because, I don't know.
I mean, just imagine, yeah, there is a couple of seconds because it obviously full on has got a slice through you, but
Yeah.
I just feel like once it is actually severed, it's more a twitching. The person's not going to be aware. It's not like you think you're not going to feel it in your hands and feet, are you?
It's not rolling his head around and like. I say, oh yes, what's his name, Dr. Barrow?
Yeah, he's not going to be able to talk because he's
Henri?
like his is it larynx?
Unless it's cut below the vocal cords and he's just ahead talking.
Oh no, that'd be weird. That's something like I have a little horror.
Langui.
What time's dinner?
So I'm looking at you, Langui.
I'm still alive.
So stop calling me. I'm trying to sleep.
Oh no, that would be something out of a horror movie where it'd come back. Like what did I watch recently? I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a program called Ghosts, and one of the guys in it's different people from throughout history. But obviously the ghosts come back.
Oh yeah, I know it. Yeah,
and the guy, he's not got his head
On
and he keeps
BBC.
rolling off.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm imagining. He's just still casually having a conversation.
or it's like the cartoon characters and they're trying to find their own head. So his
Yes.
body's trying to pick up his own head. Langui's trying to find his own body, and he's like, "This way, you idiot! This way, pick me up." What's
Can
that?
someone put my head back on?
Yeah. Maybe there's probably 7 seconds is nothing.
It's not really, but when he describes that eye thing, I feel like
It's dramatic.
yeah, I feel like there was some sort of a spasm. I'm not doubting that, but I don't think it's quite in the way like he called his name several times and he like responded to it.
They also picked up the heads after the fact, so maybe can you imagine a head
nice.
and then that talking to you?
I think it more for Max. Some people probably close their eyes before because like I know they're not going to see it come in, but they're just I don't know, they don't want to look. But then there's be a lot where those piercing eyes are like staring at you. Like I imagine almost like bulging eyes, like very scary.
Yeah, I just imagine Ned Stark's head and all the blood.
Dripping out the bottom.
Yeah.
Is it as bloodied as that? Like I feel like the main bit of the body's going to bleed a hell of a lot more. Like I know head injuries bleed a lot, but it's at the neck most of the time, isn't it? So
Yeah, I'm assuming the
just
blood's just gonna gush out. I don't want to use that word. The blood's gonna gush out as you pick it up.
yeah, maybe.
So that's like that bit, but then once that's out,
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be initially quite a lot, but then very quickly it's more sort of trickles out, like dribbles.
oh,
Because like blood clots quite quickly, isn't it? I know technically the person's like dead now, but even picking it up, it'd be like the initial puddle.
so yeah, I think he could have been over but I
still think going back for the times, like people like to make it seem like really. You look at like stories. I know it's not a story, but stories that people tell people, they make it a lot more fearsome than it is because it has a much greater effect.
I don't have the date for when this is, so I'm not sure if like it's probably a little bit into the guillotine being used because they're experimenting.
Yeah, but you think the stories people told, like we're telling others, it's like to set in a fear. To when it's like it makes. I suppose it's like a modern day, like people like writing a fiction sort of thing. You've got to have all that scariness. Like
You've got to make it a worthwhile book to read and not have all the stuff at the end that ends in 3 pages.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so by adding those details, 1, you can visualise it, and 2, it's much more interesting. You just said like, yeah, his head fell off. It's like rolled over a little bit. That's a bit like, oh, okay.
Imagine if his head did roll. He was facing the other way and he was like, Langui. Say, yes, sir?
I wonder, I know this is just a really random thought, but I wonder how many people were maybe like guillotined on a slight hill and how many heads like bobbed off and like rolled. You know when you drop something and it rolls off and you've got to like go and get after it. I wonder how many people's heads
or
just casually rolled off.
Because I think people took the heads as souvenirs or took bits. Like they would
like I know people put them on spikes and stuff.
Yeah, they would hold their handkerchiefs underneath so they would get the blood of the executed person. So maybe you saying that, I pictured, you know, the people who run after the cheese that rolls down the hill. That's what I'm picturing, but with a head rather than cheese.
Yeah, I just imagine it like casually like rolling down a hill for a little while, like people are chasing after it. Yeah.
Or
I bet it must have happened at least once.
Or the nose gets stuck in like a bit of a hole in the ground. It's just stop.
Oh yeah, or it bounces.
Oh, would it bounce?
I don't know. Depends what sort of surface it hits.
I think it's a flat surface. It's in the centre of town, in the place that
No, but if it falls like off the edge, like there's a bit of a platform what they're obviously resting the head on. But imagine if it just rolls off the edge and then like if it's like on some stairs. You know, I imagine like the town, they've set it slightly higher up, so it's like a stage.
It would be, yeah.
But imagine that they've chopped the head off, and the momentum of that going, the head like sort of plops off the side, but then like bounces down the stairs.
I think the stairs is like usually behind or at the side.
I don't know. It must have happened at least once. Someone's heads fell off, haven't they? Like rolled off somewhere.
Yeah, the first one was erected, place de grave or de grieve. So yeah, that's the very short history of the guillotine.
No, it's interesting.
It's a much longer version, but I was just like, my hand hurt, so I couldn't keep writing. But yeah, there's lots of noble people that I think we should look into. It's a good series to do, I think. Yeah,
and it's a good one for mini-series, because that's a big thing we noticed with our cases. Some of them, absolutely brilliant case, but there's absolutely nothing on it.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a good one for a mini-series.
That's what I thought.
Because you can touch on all the names, mention it.
Go into the history of Marie Antoinette, King Louis.
Yes. Definitely a good one.
So yeah, that was a very quick little mini one.
No, I like that. Sometimes it's nice, short and sweet.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit... It's not macabre. There's a word that I was looking for, and you kind of almost said it earlier. And it's like what they used to use. It's not medieval torture, but it's the torture device that they would use to kill someone. And I can't remember what the names used to be. But I thought that would be another series we could do. You're looking like you know, or you're thinking about it.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking about what I said now.
I can't remember. It was almost medieval torture, and it nearly triggered something in my mind, and then it's just gone.
Oh, okay. But there is lots of things, because I like to look over things. You know, when you look into the medieval
Catherine
murders.
wheel. Which
Yes.
I thought was a
just
firework.
About to say, looking at like the wheels, and then what's the one where they stretch people, and eventually their legs. Yeah. Well, because that's another one that's really overdramatic. People say like their arms and legs pop off,
or the pressing.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Like a crushing sort of. There was another one with spikes as well, where they rolled them over, but like rolled them into spikes. Yeah, there's a lot of good, some as gory as it is, medieval. Some of their torture methods are absolutely brilliant. They make for brilliant stories.
That's what I thought we could do another series on.
Yeah, definitely. And that'd be good for Girls on Tour, because there's a lot of things still remnants around, especially like castles and stuff in the UK.
Castles, London.
They make a lot of references to some of these torture instruments.
Yeah, I think there's some in town.
Oh, we'll have to go and have a little look.
Yeah.
Plenty of days out for us anyway, so that's is out of trouble for the rest of the summer.
Out of trouble? I'm not sure about that.
We can get ourselves into plenty of trouble, but it might keep us quiet for a bit.
Maybe not. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, that's the short history of the guillotine.
So thank you for listening. That's it for today.
In the meantime, keep creeping.
And we'll keep digging.